Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Hare Krishna, welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Bhagavad-gita. We are reading text 23 of the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge. And the previous verse we just heard Krishna giving this guarantee. Those who are always worship him with exclusive devotion, meditating on Krishna's transcendental form, to them he carries what they lack and preserve what they have. So here is text 23. Ye pyanya devata bhakta yadyante shradhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yadyantya vidhi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship me alone, worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in the wrong way. In a wrong way. Purport. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as avidhi purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. So yes, I'm in Sweden, and we don't have a lot of demigod worship going on here. So we may wonder why it is stressed, because it does come back a couple of times. And sometimes we find that Western Hare Krishnas may take this into the extreme and become a little bit disrespectful, because of course the Devas are very special persons. They are, as Prabhupada is mentioning repeatedly, they are different officers and directors of the Lord. So if you have a government, you have different ministers, they handle different departments. They also have their department. It's not just one person's. Lots of things need to be taken care of. And the responsible, capable demigods, they do those things. And in the Vedas, we have quite a lot, I understand. I haven't read it all. I've heard it referred to. Descriptions of different rituals, different yagyas, different prayers that turn towards the demigods. But Krishna is saying, it comes back in other places in the Bhagavad-gita also, that we shouldn't become bewildered by the flowery language of the Vedas. Because in this world we can do anything and everything, and there's opportunity for all sorts of desires. Now Bhagavad-gita, we want to focus on with single-minded determination on coming back to reality, the deepest reality. So this universe, as much as it exists, it's also temporary. It's also not where we actually belong. As much as a setup with different planets and demigods, it is there. But if we fail to contact Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if we fail to realize our eternal spiritual identity in this life, then the whole life has been a bit of a waste. Of course, we always learn something, but we don't want to be overly romantic. Like there is this idea, some people who have been able to embrace the idea of reincarnation, having this idea, yes, but for every life we learn more and more, we build up more and more everything we need automatically and somehow spontaneously, and in the end that is perfection. But actually in this world we can go in many directions. We can move towards self-realization, and we can move away from self-realization. And therefore Krishna wants to equip us with sufficient knowledge. And not just knowledge, of course, because we also have a process, we also have a relationship. But knowledge is a good thing. It gives us an understanding. It gives us a, concept of reality, concept of this world. That is not just the idea that everything is nothing and it's all a big illusion. And it's also not the idea that this is the world and we just study the world and we do our best with what we have. We have a reality that is spiritual, and right now we're in the reality where our understanding is mostly material. So we want to combine these, and here this is part of that knowledge. We won't get overly involved in demigod worship. Especially, Krishna is directing us to his personal worship, which is not necessarily a very difficult thing to do. What is difficult is to find this focus again, to, rise above the illusion that we are so conditioned by life after life. I think I'll read the next verse also, text 24. Ahang hi sarvaya jnanang bhukta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvenatas chavanti te. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Yes, so we remember here that we're reading Bhagavad-gita, spoken by Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he can say these things because they're actually true. And we like to hear these things because we want to get to know Krishna better and better. So Krishna shows all these aspects. He is the controller of this material existence. He is behind the creation of this existence. He's also an individual. He's a person, and he has a spiritual world, and he's welcoming us to come there. But the fact that he's God is a not insignificant part of the package, so we want to understand that. And those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. It means there is no spiritual self-realization separate from realization of Krishna. So those go hand in hand. Purport. Here it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literatures, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-gita it is clearly stated that one should only work for satisfying yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization, known as Varnashram Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices, because I am the Supreme Master. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefits. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desires to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result. So what do we do with our desires? Of course, in general, as I said, I'm from Sweden. Demigod worship is not a big stumbling block in our spiritual life. But the same idea a little bit. So in this world we have many desires, and we're creating different structures for fulfilling our desires. So we can be purely materialistic and just try and build with our own abilities, or somehow or another gain things by some method, honest or dishonest. We can turn to demigods, and which was explained here, that it's not quite exactly right. And sometimes we do that also in religion. It seems to be a lot of praying for fulfilling desires. And here Prabhupada says that's not pure devotion, because pure devotion means not saying, God, I want you to do this for me, but rather saying, Krishna, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? Please engage me in your service. That is the basic understanding and meaning of the Hare Krishna mantra. It's a prayer. My dear Lord, my dear Radharani, energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service. And that desire grows more and more. But before that, if there are material desires, it's better to turn to Krishna with them as well, because Krishna, like demigod worship, it's bound by certain laws. If you perform a specific sacrifice, if we do specific activities, then we will get exactly that result, whether we want to or not, whether it's good for us or not. With Krishna, he can fulfill our desires in such a way that we are still going towards him. There will be no, negative results from that. And better, of course, is to be able to fully transform our desires into pure love for God. But that is a high level, and it is okay, it's okay to not be perfect, because if we were perfect, we wouldn't be in this world, we wouldn't need a yoga method, we wouldn't need to do an endeavor. So Bhagavad-gita is spoken to us. We still need to develop and grow. And this is a good perspective to keep in mind. I will read one more verse. Text 25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitrivrataha bhutani yanti bhutedya yanti madhyajinopimam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. This is Krishna speaking again. So yes, I said that before, I think. It's like sometimes death is seen as a place. When people die, or now they go to join their other friends and family who went before. But death is just a step from this existence to the next, and the next existence depend on what we do in this life. And here it's very clearly, worshipping the demigods will let us take birth on the planets of the demigods. Worshipping the ancestors, Pitris, there's a certain planet for the ancestors that if one follows the specific sacrifices I won't go into here, then when you die, hopefully your family members will continue to do these yagyas and sort of pay for the resort at the planet of the demigods. Worshipping ghosts and spirits is absolutely not recommended, but we know in many cultures this is part of existence, that they go to a certain tree or a certain place and offer certain things. It's not recommended because that's not a direction we want to go in. Krishna, on the other hand, Krishna's planet, Krishna's existence, that's reality. That's a place to actually aim for. And even aiming for it means we can be there right now in our consciousness. If it's on a spiritual level, it doesn't really matter that it is in this material world. We will still have to eat, the body will still die, but Krishna consciousness does not depend on if we're in this body or if we have left it. It's not that we have to die before we can achieve spiritual perfection. Not at all. But certainly, when we leave this body, what we did in this life, building up a certain consciousness, that will determine where we continue. Purport. If one has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for the purpose, such as the process technically known as Darsha Paurnamasa. These are vividly described in the fruitive activities portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets by performing a specific yagya. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a yaksha, raksha or pishacha. Pishacha worship is called black arts or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art and they think it is spiritualism, but such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse, that if by simply worshipping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing the black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live, and because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahma Jyotir. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to Godhead. Yes, so we're not shy to admit that. The Bhagavad-gita, it has so many aspects that we learn and understand. The process of bhakti yoga has so many steps. The self-realization and God-realization has so many levels. But we turn to Bhagavad-gita, we turn to Krishna at that point in life where we're saying, what is the meaning of life? Where am I going? Who am I really? What is the meaning of life? Krishna is prepared to give us those answers. And Krishna here is saying, and it's also important knowledge, because sometimes we think, oh yeah, we're all doing something and it's all good and we can all get along and we can all respect each other's paths. And we can of course do that. And we're also not saying our religion is the good religion and everybody else's religion is not so good. But it depends on your, what level you aim for. Maybe not so much on your cultural background, because religion is a part of human society. But your level of religion, if you just want to achieve something for yourself or control the situation in some way, well, that's mostly called magic. When the focus is on controlling existence for your own benefit, we call it magic. And when we serve God with the hope of achieving some benefits, then we call it religion. But spirituality, spiritual life, means realizing reality as it is. And that reality is spiritual. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the center of all that spiritual reality. So here, it's good information. What we do in this world will determine where we go next. That is true even if we don't make any sort of plan. But if we do make a plan, if we want to make some direction and find out the method and give some dedication to it, let's not just go to some planet to live there and die again. Let's just go to Krishna. It is the best place. It is the real place. It is the place where the soul finally will feel at home. Thank you so much. I have, of course, a little bit of information in the box below, playlist for previous chapters, etc. Also, any questions and comments, I would be so happy to try to respond to them. And we'll have new videos coming up every Tuesday and Friday. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,